Simply Financial with Christopher Calandra, Certified Financial Planner, is an innovative, comprehensive, informative, and cutting-edge podcast that discusses financial topics ranging from personal finance, economics, politics, and personal growth. Simply Financial will cover intriguing and thought-provoking questions so that the listener can simply increase their financial IQ.
Welcome to episode 51 of season number 3 of the Simply Financial podcast. I'm your host, Christopher Calandra. Thanks for joining me today. I have with me a guest, Arlene Cogen. She is a speaker and best-selling author of the book Give to Live. She is also the founder of Arlene Cogen Consulting, and the topic is the gift of giving. So Arlene, thank you so much for joining me. Maybe you could start by just telling me and my listeners a little bit about your background.
I spent my time on Wall Street helping people make money, and it was a blast. But then I had 2 daughters, and while working on Wall Street was fun, I also experienced sexual harassment, the glass ceiling, and wage discrimination. And having 2 daughters made me decide that I wanted to lead by example and show them that they could have a job that was fulfilling and get paid well and not deal with any of the BS. So we moved from the East Coast out to Portland, Oregon, which is where I am now, and I saw a career coach, and everything came up philanthropy and benevolence. And it took me 5 years, and I found a position with the Oregon Community Foundation, which happens to be the 9th largest community foundation in the country, where I worked on the exact opposite side. Instead of helping people grow their money and make money, I helped people give it away, and it was an extremely rewarding position. But when I was there, I noticed that there was just a lack of understanding and communication about how to give. So I decided at that point, after 9 years with the foundation, to go out on my own and really teach individuals how to give in ways that solved personal and financial problems, and also work with their advisors so the advisors could help build comprehensive financial plans that dealt with personal, financial, and also left their clients the ability to make a charitable gift they never imagined. And I have to say, it's all because I had 2 daughters that made me switch careers, and I'm so thankful because it's a fabulous space to be in.
Very good. So this is not something that was an overnight change. It's something that was an evolution for you after meeting with the career coach and finding your way to the foundation, leading to you setting up your consulting firm, right?
Exactly. It's been a long path and journey, and I've met amazing people along the way.
So I know this is a very base question, but in your mind, having experienced so much in the world of charity and philanthropy, what are the benefits of giving? Can you talk about some of that?
Sure. And, I really want to focus on one in particular that I don't think people focus on enough, and that is that giving actually makes us happy. And there's an associate professor from Harvard named Michael Norton who worked with Elizabeth Dunn with the University of British Columbia, and they did a whole study on happiness. And what they did is they took 2 envelopes. They found a bunch of participants, and they took a bunch of envelopes. And students at the campus of the University of British Columbia received an envelope with either $5 or $20 in it, and instructions that said either spend the money on yourself or spend it on others. And at the end of the day, we're going to call and see how happy you are, if it changed your opinion at all in your outlook for the day. And while money didn't matter, what they found was that people who spent the money on themselves had no change in their being, But those who spent it on other people felt happier and more satisfied for the day. And then this went out to the Pew Research Company, and they did it worldwide with over 200,000 people in 136 countries. And they got similar results. So what Michael Norton says at the end of his TED Talk, which I just love, it's so brilliant, if you think money can't buy you happiness, stop spending it on yourself and try spending it on other people instead. So there's real hard science that giving makes you happy. They've done MRI scans. It lights up your prefrontal cortex. And so there's hard science that giving makes us happier. So that's one of the huge benefits of giving. You become happier people.
That is awesome, and it's probably talked about way too little in not just my industry, but just in general. And I could speak personally, Arlene. I'm 49 now, and I would say I've given over the course of my adult life, but not overly generous. Give money to church, local causes, a few charity events each year, pretty good. But now, at this stage of the game, I've achieved a lot of financial goals. I'm not a multi-billionaire with my own private yacht, but I'm financially secure. I am wealthy by most measures, and I have financial comfort. And now my thoughts on giving are so much more intense and mature now that I've kind of protected myself, my family, achieved success, not completely raised my 2 kids. My son is 13. But could you speak to that, kind of the evolution where some people give generously throughout their lives regardless of their economic status, and others, I think like me, they kind of grow into it as they become older, more mature, maybe even a little wiser, and when they achieve financial security. I'm hoping I'm a little wiser. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, I believe for everyone, even those people who you think have refined giving, sense of giving, that giving truly is a journey and it develops over time. And I'll share one quick story with you from the book. I worked with a woman named Sharon, and she was the first donor I met with at the foundation. And it was a very interesting process. Just stopped being a financial advisor. She walks in, and I'm all ready to help her, and she's like, my attorney sent me here. She thinks you can help me. I don't have much time left. Well, it turns out that Sharon had ovarian cancer. She had no kids. She was financially sound. She was divorced. She could leave everything she wanted to charity. And we drafted a fund agreement, and she was going to focus on ovarian cancer research. And I worked with Sharon for 5 years, and over that time, her giving went from ovarian cancer research to end-of-life care and supporting hospice. So as you get older and different things occur in your life, your giving is going to change and modify along with your experiences. Some people are so compelled, they went to college, someone gave them a scholarship, and they would not be successful without that education. So education is critical to them, and that's the only thing they want to support. So like you, as someone either becomes more physically sound and more confident in their finances, your giving can grow. But it does change and evolve over time. You're absolutely right about that. And that's why I always say with my philanthropy and in the book, enjoy the journey.
Very good. The little bit of a tangent, but just from a nuts and bolts perspective, Have charitable donations gone down since the tax law change that went into effect in January 1st of 2018? And I ask because there was some significant changes in that tax law driving more and more taxpayers to take the standard deduction instead of itemized deductions. And charitable deductions are often itemized. And now that 80 to 90% of American tax filers are taking a standard deduction, you lose a little bit of the tax incentive for everyday Americans to make a charitable deduction, a charitable donation, I should say. So have the numbers changed? Has this tax law impacted charitable donations by Americans?
So it has, but it's been in an interesting way and one you might not think of. Charitable giving is actually increased, the actual dollar amount, but the number of people giving has diminished. So as we see the wealth divide enlarge, the people at the top end are giving more, and those who can only take a standard deduction now are giving less, which is really unfortunate because then not everyone gets the joy of giving.
Sure.
And as we just spoke about, there is joy in giving.
I could see that. So total donation in terms of dollars has increased, but less Americans are donating, and you're tracing that possibly to the tax law at lower brackets because of income and wealth disparity. They either can't afford to give or the loss of the tax deduction might incentivize them not to do giving.
Exactly.
Okay. Another nuts and bolts question that I was curious about. We've been on a focus here as we meet with clients as part of the planning, and when they get to age 70 and a half, or if they're already beyond 70 and a half, to make sure they're aware of the qualified charitable distribution, or QCD. I actually did an episode of this podcast, Arlene, solely on that topic. And I'm just not sure how many people are aware of the qualified charitable distribution and how many people are taking advantage of it. But first, maybe just to catch all listeners up, if you're over 70 and a half and you have an IRA, pre-tax money, you're required to take a certain percentage of it out each year per IRS rules. In the first year, it's around 3.6%. You have to take the money out, and typically that's a taxable event. In fact, that's why the IRS has this rule, because they want to begin taxing the retirement money. You can opt to give that required minimum distribution money to charity, and then it would not be taxable, and you could give to the charity or charities of your choice. It's not just limited to the RMD. You could actually give up to $100,000 per year to charity, tax-free, from your IRAs. You need to be 70 and a half. That may change. There's some pending legislation. But right now you have to be over 70 and a half. So that's the qualified charitable distribution we're going to talk about now. Did I explain that okay, Arlene?
Yeah, I think you explained that great, and I so agree with you. The qualified charitable distributions are excellent ways for people over 70 and a half to make a charitable donation. They don't have to pay income tax on the money. They don't get a tax deduction either, but it still allows you to move a lot of money to charity. And what I love about retirement plans in general is they are the most tax-efficient way for people to give to charity, also through their estate plan, because retirement accounts are kind of double taxed. And even though we have a high federal estate tax rate, there are still some states out there that have estate taxes that start at $0 or $1 million.